Okay, give me 1 second. Get some light. Here we go. Gotta wait for YouTube to decide to do this. Boom. Silence myself. Alright, cool. Good morning. Good morning. Unplanned live stream as normal. You guys know what I do on this channel. I just go random. But yesterday I was talking about, man, my family, it's holiday season, y'all. So I'm just kind of accessible on the live stream tip. But anyways, I'm losing my voice because obviously, I mean, my family, we party. Like, I mean, we dance, the music's, everything's loud, but we have a good time. So, but I'm here. And yesterday I did a live stream and I was just kind of recapping 2024. You can check that out in my live streams tab. But I mentioned Vivek and Elon, and I really didn't focus too much on the little beef that I see that, quote, MAGA Republicans are having with Vivek. And so, I figured it was just some political back and forth. So I didn't really pay attention to it. But like today, I'm seeing more and more people kind of either troll the situation or kind of just outright talk about, you know, MAGA Republicans having an immigrant Indian problem. So I caught this video from Reese Waters, and I am going to drop this video because I want you to show him some love because I'm just going to review his video because he did such a great job. And why reinvent the wheel when you can just give the creator credit? So I just put the link to his video in the description. So make sure you check out Reese's video too, because he's an hilarious guy. And like I said, I am a politically neutral person. So I look at positions from both sides. I have people or pundits on both sides that I respect their position, even if I don't agree with them. I like their passion and their delivery of their position. It seems very organic to what they believe. So Reese Waters is one of those channels that he's on the liberal side, but I like his position on things. So, and he's funny. He has a good heart when it comes to what he says. So he starts off his video with Nick Fuentes, like, I don't really care about the economy that much. Just don't want to live in a country that looks like India. So I'm just sitting up there like, what did Vivek Ramaswamy say that pissed these people off so bad? Now, mind you, I've said in my video that, like previous videos, that it was peculiar to me how all of these MAGA people were flocking to Elon Musk. And I'm like, this guy has dinner with Satanists. Like the God, faith, and family people, they're like really flocking around this dude who has meals with Satanists. It was kind of weird to me, but I'm just like, you know what? The world is crazy, right? What do I know about these MAGA Republicans, right? They could be having dinner with Satanists for all I know. So I'm just like, there was a fixation on Elon. Didn't understand it, but I get it. He's a big voice, he's popular, and they're trying to win. So they're going to have this guy out there just roaring, right? But even in the MAGA Republican space, you cannot get too comfortable, right? Because if you're not playing ball by their talking points, if you are not speaking in manners in which they want you to be speaking in, you will get the business. And so one of those folks that are getting the business right now is Vivek Ramaswamy, right? So what did Vivek say? Tell us about it, Reese. Let me see. Go ahead and play this.
About the economy that much. I just don't want to live in a country that looks like India. Yeah, that's friendly fire. We didn't. No, y'all handle that. Let them fight.
This is funny to me.
Welcome to Street Politics. My name is Reese Waters. Now, I previously covered the infighting, the bit of a leopard feast that had been going on between Laura Loomer and MAGA and one Elon Musk. This is from
Can somebody from the Democrat side please explain the leopard thing, right? I'm so divorced from these political parties and the thoughts and the slogans within them, but on the Democratic side, they have this song, I never thought the leopards would eat my face. Who are the leopards? Because that tickles me every time I hear this guy talking about the leopards. Like, is it the white people? Like, I don't know what these people are talking about. Who are the leopards? Somebody pushed the light, so I'm assuming the leopards are the whites. Thank you.
Musk.
Again, I'm divorced from all of this stuff, right? So when I hear some of these slogans, it just tickles me because I'm like, leopards, what is he talking about?
Who is not MAGA and never has been, is a total effing drag on the Trump transition.
So he's quoting Laura Loomer. Sawdow face, Laura Loomer.
He's a stage 5 clinger who overstayed his welcome at Mar-a-Lago in an effort to become Trump's side piece and be the point man for all of his accomplices in big tech to slither into Mar-a-Lago.
Okay, so Laura Loomer is saying that concerning Elon, she says that he's a stage 5 clinger. So she didn't give him stage 10. Maybe he's working his way up in Laura Loomer's mind. But she said Elon is a stage 5 clinger, and she feels like he has overstayed his welcome. Now, I will say this. Like, I get that, you are a tech billionaire, right? Riding for a president, right? And obviously, just like all the other tech giants like Zuckerberg and Google folks, right? They took their asses on the Mar-a-Lago as well, right? Because they got to have good faith for the incoming president who happens to be Mar-a-Lago. So Elon is not theoretically doing anything that none of these other tech CEOs and other CEOs are doing right now, because obviously the current administration, they're coming in with ideas and policies that will impact their industry and maybe their companies, and they want to at least give them opportunity to start pivoting or adjusting themselves to whatever incoming administration impacts might put a risk to their business. So to me, it's not abnormal, that Elon is, meeting with Trump, but it is peculiar that he's just there all the time now. And I'm not sure if this is something that Trump wants, or if, Elon just doesn't know how to just, all right, dude, we won. It's December 28th now, bro. Why don't you go on back to Tesla and do your thing, Elon? Maybe he doesn't know. Like, maybe Elon doesn't know when to get the hell on. Or maybe this is Trump like, hey, Elon, you're going to be my right-hand man. I want you hanging out at Mar-a-Lago, playing video games with Barron, right? Because he's special just like you, Elon. I do believe that Elon is very special. Was he spending Thanksgiving with his children? Like somebody said that he wasn't. Did he say he wasn't? But let's go here.
Now, I would love to defend you against those allegations, Elon Musk, but did you not say that you spent Thanksgiving at Mar-a-Lago talking to Barron? Yeah. Even though you have more kids than NWA?
Hell no. Is this a Trump thing? Maybe Trump wants Elon around. Good morning. You say good morning, Grandma. I am not a grandma. None of my daughters, and they are childbearing age, have kids because they know what's up. So don't come over here putting your shit on me. Love you. Thank you. I actually need to get it redone. But, not grandmas have shit to do like raising their kids right and taking care of business. And on the side, doing some blogs, right? What's going on, top tens? I see you. Grand rising to you. Don't come over here just saying shit because I block people unapologetically. I don't care about subscribers. I care about quality people coming over here, chopping it up. So don't come over here slick talking because you will get embarrassed and blocked. All right. So we are talking about how the MAGA Republicans are upset with their favorite Indian, Vivek Ramaswamy. And this is so funny because, and this go back to your Tariq Nasheed conversations. Like I said, I don't agree 100% with what anybody says. But, in the layers of repetitive conversation, the reoccurring thing for me is that you see that these immigrant people, products of immigrants, right? They really want to be, Caucasian, right? And then they get comfortably Caucasian to the fact where they think that now I am in your fold, I'm trusted. Now I can just start saying shit and you're going to defend me, right? But Vivek is getting his Eastern Indian wake up call, right? That you just can't come over here talking about H1Bs and then attacking American culture. Now, I didn't know what Vivek says because I'm like thinking like if he's just talking about H1Bs, like I kind of agree with it. I even stated my case for why I agree with the H1B, conversation. But, you know, what else was he saying? I want to get
Wasn't that
to
you?
what else Vivek was saying. Here we go. This is Vivek.
Science competition, fewer Saturday morning.
Here we go.
Lark Voorhees deserve better than that. She deserved better than that. And a prepubescent Reese Waters deserved a lot better than that, too. I cried over that one. I'm not proud of it. I'm not.
He cried when Zach Slater kissed Lisa Turtle on Saved by the Bell. Honestly, I thought it was cute. But again, I was not raised to have the beliefs that I have now. So, again, like my mom, she was one of those black women that felt like her daughters, you know, should have certain standards of life. And so, she was not opposed to us marrying white men. Um, and so that was just the mindset of my mom, right? But it didn't bother me that Zach kissed Lisa. I thought it was kind of cute at first, And even now, in retrospect, it doesn't bother me. I mean, but, he just felt like it was kind of a temporary thing and he was just getting this little temporary shot. So he didn't really feel like it was a quality play on Lisa Turtle. This is what I'm getting from Reese.
Get your hands off Lisa. More movies like Whiplash, fewer reruns of Friends. That I can ride with. Way fewer reruns of Friends, like zero. More math tutoring, fewer sleepovers, more weekend science competition, fewer Saturday morning cartoons, more books, less TV, more creating, less chilling, more extracurriculars, less hanging out.
So he definitely thinks that American culture should be a lot like their culture in India and in the Eastern world, where they're not centered on secular leisure times because, they are being programmed to be smart and competitive people who can get a job and make their family a lot of money, which Americans are programmed like that too. But we have a very Romanesque way of being over here, right? We are Rome's bastard daughter, okay? And because we are the bastard daughter of Rome, you know, we have a very leisurely, debauched kind of mindset in this country. And it's been that way forever. I think that's what makes people want to come on over to Sodom and Gomorrah, America, because, people have the freedoms to do and be exactly how they want to be, right? And spend their time the way that they see fit. And a lot of people actually have the money. And here's the thing, I grew up looking at Boy Meets World. I grew up looking at Saved by the Bell, Family Matters. And I mean, I know a lot of people who grew up looking at those shows, and they're doctors, they're lawyers, they're financial advisors, they are professionals. So, I mean, I'm not understanding, and I get where he's saying that we have too much leisure time, but at the same time, those shows didn't shake anybody that I know from going out and being a professional person. They didn't buy into the mindset of Zach and Lisa and all these shows, because it was like, that's not really real to our life. And we growing up during that time were practical enough to know the separation between TV and our real life, because we didn't have social media and all these other platforms in our face all the time. So we had to go outside. We had to go out and actualize ourselves outside of a medium, right? So I feel like people in my generation definitely understood the separation between those shows and what we were inspired to do, because in between Boy Meets World and Saved by the Bell, there was always those infomercials of, college graduates and high school graduates, the brightest and best. We always had the knowledge is power, right? The more you know commercials coming in between these shows. So I'm not sure when Vivek came to America, but I can tell you, as a 90s baby, right? Nobody that I knew grew up. As a matter of fact, 90s was the most empowering time for Black people. So most of the Black people I know growing up in the 90s, they're professionals. So you definitely not talking about Black people growing up in the 90s, and I venture to say you're not even talking about white people. So I think that he took these they are cultural icons in American culture, and he's trying to weaponize them against the people. But it's like, the people growing up in the 90s, they're not the problem. It's not the people growing up in the 90s that are the problem. It is the people that grew up in the age of social media that really are the distractive forces to themselves. Ergo, they are a distractive force to the American economy, because a lot of them are distracted with bullshit, distracted with these cell phones, that they're not going out. And as Vivek said, they're not going out and actualizing themselves in real life. They're not realizing that the best classroom that they will ever have is just living the game called life. This is why some of your technician and some of your quote lower not balling people, they are actually the most smartest, intelligent people in society, because they're not distracted with bullshit. They're center focused on a craft or something, and they have a routine in life that they're getting better at as they're understanding. I feel like people like Vivek, he is the Screech, right? He is the Urkel, right? He's the nerdy dude who was forced to do all those things. And he did probably benefit himself, right? But like, I don't feel like anybody was really checking for Vivek. So he's like, instead of trying to be the cool kid, you can be like me, right? And I mean, I think that there's a lot of cool kids that can still be successful, maybe not to the degree of Vivek. And didn't he do some old scamming ass shit? Right? Like, didn't he do some old scamming ass shit? So you didn't look at all those shows. You played the nerd role, but you just learned a whole lot of shit to be able to do some foul shit, from what I heard, allegedly, Vivek. Right? So, and wasn't it involving the health insurance group too? So, man, shut up, Vivek. Right? Because I know a lot of people that grew up watching Saved by the Bell. They probably didn't do that, which you did, right? So let's just keep it a bean. Keep it a bean. The 90s, to me, none of those shows in the 90s really just shaped who anybody was, like, officially. I would say Bill Cosby shows, at least for Black America, Bill Cosby, Family Matters, those were definitely shaped, family shaping shows, but I think people are more so looking at Family Matter and even Bill Cosby shows for the family and real life dynamic to the culture. So I don't know. Vivek doesn't really know what he's talking about, but he's really going in on what he believes are the things gone wrong. But I think he really needs to center focus on the fact that the U.S. education system has been infiltrated by people who want our children inferior, thinking inferior. So at the very foundations of our experience now, our children's experience nowadays, is they are being exposed overly with emotional bullshit instead of logical things. Like this shit that the kids do in school these days is, we didn't do that shit in school. We didn't center on emotions and feelings and all that bullshit. We focused on getting the shit done, getting your homework and being accountable. There was no, oh, you can turn your homework in 2 weeks late and get only a point off. No, fuck that. You didn't turn your homework in, you just didn't get credit for it. And it's like, it's crazy how these kids are just able to get passes all through school now, where they can just bullshit themselves around and these teachers are letting them. Like, we care about the kids' mental health. Man, damn that. These kids need to learn accountability. That if X doesn't happen, Z doesn't happen. And if you fail, you just fail and you earned it. Right? Now it's like a participation trophy thing. Right? So, I mean, we do need to get to the root causes of why Americans are not as competitive in certain areas as other groups of people. And a lot of that is, and I'm not going to say that he's lying, where, there are a lot of distractions, but he's going way back to the 90s, bro. Wrong time. You need to get into the era of the cell phones and all the technology, but you can't say that, right? Because you're on your Revenge of the Nerds rant about all these popular kid shows that didn't reflect you as a desirable person, it seems to me. But off of that, though, I do think that we do need to have more focus on things with substance again, and really focusing on having a catalog of knowledge. That's what I grew up with. And that's why I feel like people in my age bracket, we can kind of talk about anything. We don't even need to be a subject matter expert or go to somebody's school, because that's what we were exposed to as kids. Like, somewhere between somewhere, the U.S. education system, and I think it happened under Obama. I really do believe that, like, maybe my younger sister, and she's almost 40, I think my younger sister's graduating class, they were the last rites of, like, your logical schoolhouse rock, none of that emotional bullshit aspect stuff. They were the last rites of that U.S. education system. And if we could go back to that education system, the United States will turn out global competitors again. Because that education structure system was focused on turning out global competitors. We are turning out activists these days. That's what they're doing. So, to his point, you got to get to the root cause, and I'm not, and it's not about these old school TV. He going way old school on some shows that didn't even fucking matter, right? Because that generation of Americans were not touched by the technological advancements and the social media and the web 2.0s. We were not touched, right? We're probably some of the most logical people running around the country, right? The next generations are the ones that you should be focused on, the ones with the sidekicks, right? And on up. That was the distraction point for next generations, where they weren't focused on the things that we were made to be focused on. And they feel entitlement to be distracted with bullshit when we actually respected our parents still. We were actually still scared of our parents. We weren't mouthing off of our own at our parents like these kids feel like they grown, they on the same level as their parents, right? Because these schools are teaching them that, hey, you're smarter than your parents because you use technologies that they don't. It's like, man, we need to go back to the basics where kids go to school and their teachers don't say shit about their parents and their family. You just take your ass to work, do a job, teach a subject, right? These people can't even develop their curriculum anymore. They have a curriculum already handed to them, right? That they have to execute in some way, right? So, we need to get to the root cause of it, and it's the US education system. We are not pushing out global competitors because our kids are distracted with emotional bullshit that translates into all the social media exposure that they're going to get, right? And then that distracts them from really understanding, how do I actualize myself in this world that I'm being constantly projected as being shitty and unfair and highly nepotistic. I don't have a chance in this bullshit. So we need to focus on things like that, Vivek, and real Americans would be able to articulate that. Let me get into the comments. This dude is a revenge of the nerd cope. He's on a revenge of the nerd cope, you guys. You said you have a BBC. I don't know what that is. What is a BBC? Right? But I mean, it is what it is. Vivek is a beneficiary of real Americans, okay? Because that's really what immigrants are. They're always going to be beneficiaries of Americans that were here, right? Whether it's the Black American struggle that allowed them to bring the ambiguous looking behinds over here, or whatever, or just the need, right? But I think that, people like Vivek, I think that they get so comfortable in this construct of, you know, whites accept me now, so I'm able to just say anything without any type of scruples, right? And it's like, we got to remind Vivek that you are not Obama, okay? And a lot of them folks didn't really vote for you. They weren't even really checking for you like that. They tried to make you the Republican Obama, right? But we just, we saw through that too, right? So, I mean, Vivek can speak a good game, but, obviously, I think people are like, bro, maybe you should stay in your lane a little bit with this because you're speaking on American culture and you're conflating it with Indian culture, which is basically what he's doing here. He's saying less cartoons, and I do agree. I'm not saying that he's completely wrong here. I just think that his articulation is off. His word choice is off. And that's why he managed to piss people off, because all of these words sound like a freaking rant. And it sounds like a rant on American culture by a damn immigrant, a product of immigrants. And obviously, Vivek didn't calculate, how this would translate to other people, because he's getting the backlash. He's getting his, I guess it wouldn't be a Negro wake up call because he's not like us, but he's getting a POC wake up call. I was gonna say that.
Out at the mall. Vivek, tell us, let's be real. You wasn't invited to the mall, was you? Huh? You wasn't invited? You weren't invited to the mall, was you? No. Because I wasn't invited either. I used to walk around the mall by myself, pretend to be shopping, but I just wanted to be around the cool kids. But at least I got out of the house. Most normal American parents look skeptically at those kinds of parents. More normal Americans view those kinds of kids with scorn. If you grow up aspiring to normalcy is what you will achieve. Now close your eyes and visualize which families you knew in the 90s or even now who raise their kids according to one model versus the other.
So again, I grew up watching all of those shows. I watched Power Rangers, VR Troopers. Yeah, I was a normal kid, right? But I was a normal kid that grew up in a household with expectations, right? So we knew that we can watch our shows if we didn't do our homework, right? We knew that you don't get money, you don't get allowance if you don't take care of your chores in the house. Like, so, there were things that were being taught in the household that really helped us to become balanced type of people. And like I said, I have friends that are in various different professions, whether they're in a medical field, lawyers, financial sector, and we all grew up watching these shows, reminiscing on these shows, right? And we're professionals, right? And so I think Vivek just needs to understand. I don't think he has a full grasp on why American culture is more special than the culture that he came from. But key word is the culture that you came from, right? Because you fled that culture to come over and immerse yourself in American culture. And this is where I agree with Tariq Nasheed. It's like these fleers of their own damn countries have a shit ton to say about America. And it's like, why don't you, if you don't like the normalcy, and granted, I don't like the debauchery, I don't like the normalization of debauchery in America. I don't like that, right? But at the same time, this is something that the culture can work out and reject, right? Because if the culture collectively speaks, things will change. That we know for sure. Anheuser-Busch is the best case study we will ever have in history about how when you start drastically superimposing shit on American culture, how the culture will speak. But, off of that, these people are tethers. They're either tethered to the culture or they're beneficiaries of some sort. Either way, they have fled their country to come over here to be able to be actualized in this American culture in a way that they definitely wouldn't be actualized in their own damn country. And I mean, and maybe Vivek would have been actualized that way. Who knows? Is he a World Economic Forum? Somebody? Like, I mean, because the World Economic Forum is just raising all these little agents of political faces. So who knows? But I mean, I'm just saying that you're talking about American culture from the lens of a legacy fleer. You are a fleer. Your people were a fleer. You didn't stay in your own nation. You came to this nation. And if the culture was that bad, when did when did his people come to America? When did his people come to America? Right? Because if his people came to America around the 90s or whatnot, or whatever, he definitely need to shut the hell up. Because you left your whole culture that actually has those normalcies that you think that we should have to come over here to our distracted ass culture is basically what he's saying. So let me know what you guys think. Let me get into the comments, but I think he definitely needs to bridle his tongue. He definitely needs to bridle his tongue. You said Obama was terrible. I mean, a lot of them folks are terrible. Biden was terrible. I venture to say that Biden was worse than Obama. Most drone strikes by any president, deporter in chief. Laugh out loud. I don't know about that. I don't know about that. He was born in 85 in Cincinnati, Ohio. Vivek Ramaswamy. Okay, so when did his parents get here, though? When did Vivek's parents get to America? I don't know what you're talking about. But when did his parents come to America? That's the question. He could have been born, in America, but when did his parents get here? It definitely mattered when his parents got here, because if his parents got here around the 90s and all that stuff, he got to be quiet because that's not even his own time. He was born in, so you say he was born in 1985. So Vivek is not that much younger than me. What is he, like 2 years younger than me? He's 2 years younger than me. So he's just a victim of his own growing up, where he was forced to be the nerdy kid while all the other American kids were actually able to enjoy American life. And many of those kids probably went on to be professional people. Maybe they weren't Vivek starting companies with interesting backgrounds, right? But they probably did go off to be maybe an engineer, technician, family person. So it is what it is. It does matter when his parents got here, though, because you can't talk shit about America. It's like, apparently your parents knew what they were getting into when they brought their asses over here, and they had you in this culture that they knew was not like their own. Like, that's the whole thing. It's like, don't leave your own country and then expect to have your country in the country that you fled to. And that's what a lot of these people, they come over talking shit about Americans, how we exist in our own country. And it's like, we got to remind you, hey, you just fled your whole country to come over here. And we know you heard about us. We know you heard about us. Like, everybody around the world has heard about America. So when y'all make an executive decision to flee y'all asses over here, right, you already know what it is. So you got to shut the hell up, is what I'm saying. You got to shut the hell up, you know? You cannot come over here talking shit about our people, our culture, and our lands. You just can't. Because, you fled your own land. And if you were that successful in America, why don't you go and build your own damn homeland if you love the culture so damn much? You've built success. You've built yourself in this country where you wouldn't normally. A lot of these people, they have the opportunities to build themselves in America in a manner that they wouldn't be able to build themselves in their own nation, and they still come over here talking shit. It's insane. It's insane to me. And I'm not trying to be prejudiced against immigrants or anything like that, but it's just the audacity of some of these people. It's like, you fled your whole damn nation to come over to this land that you perceive to be for free people and all this stuff and opportunity, right? That's what a lot of them say all the time. We come in for the opportunity, right? But then when they get over here, they get the opportunity. They start living way better than some of them from these third world countries living. Then the minute they start talking cash shit about Americans, cultures in America, it's like, well, if you were that damn dissatisfied, take your ass back home. And I never thought that I would have the mindset of telling people to take your ass back home. But that really is the truth. Like, I mean, you can't tell a Black American to go back to Africa, because a lot of our people have not been in Africa probably longer than some of these European generations of immigrants. So y'all not talking to us, right? You definitely got to be talking to an authentically African immigrant that has not been here since the 1800s. You definitely not talking about freeman descendants when you talk about go back to Africa, right? Because remember, y'all asses bought us from there, right? So we the property of America now, bitches. Stop playing with us, right? So they got to be talking about the immigrants, right? But it is just interesting to me to see how these people just come over here and just start talking cash shit. And I'm going to blame MAGA for even enabling this Vivek, right? Y'all should have been reading between the lines. I'm going to have Ann Coulter is the realest MAGA person I know, because Ann Coulter, I don't know if she's a troll or what, but she told him straight to his face, like, I would not have voted for you because you're an Indian, right? I'm like, damn, Ann Coulter is a savage. Ann Coulter is a savage. She's like, shit, I don't care, right? I'm going to have this conversation with you. I wouldn't have voted for you because you're an Indian, right? Vivek should have took a memo there, like, I got to watch what I say. I got to season my tongue, right? Because this is how these people some of these folks really will get at me, right? So Vivek did that long little essay trying to, I don't know what he was doing. But you know what? He's not talking about the American educational system. He's talking about American culture. If you go back and you listen to that, he's saying that America has a C problem, meaning that we have a culture problem, right? Education, culture, those are not the same things. And this is what Vivek is saying. I'm not sure what you're talking about. I never said that I'm enslaved. Like who's not free? Barry, you can't come over here just spouting conservative talking points because Candace Owens told you some bullshit. No black person that I know do not think that they are free. We're not all Democrats, so just settle down, ease up on the black conservative talking points. You're not looking at one, right? But I'm not a black Democrat either. All right. So off of that, I mean, I'm free to walk out my house, go on vacation. I don't know a lot of not free black people unless they're rolling with some of these perverts in Hollywoods and they're sex slaves and they're being sex trafficked. Slavery definitely still exists in America. It's just very underground, things like that. Right? But it's definitely not about black people these days. It's just about sex slaves and leveraged people and making agents out of people, things like that. Your nation education system is really related to their culture. I would say the education system is related to a little bit of culture, but really I think it's more related to the government and what the government thinks the people should know. And I mean, you look at, how they can coordinate to, like, for example, LGBTQ, right? That is a lifestyle, right? That is a lifestyle choice, right? It is a lifestyle choice. And when I say it's a choice, people can be nurtured, people can choose to nurture their children with those belief systems, right? So they can choose to nurture the child into the lifestyle. The child can choose at that point to overly embrace it, which is the intent of parents like this, and to the point where they become it, right? Or it's like people are traumatized into the lifestyle due to early confusion by a trusted adult. Regardless, nobody is born gay. Nobody is born gay. Somewhere that child was nurtured, abused, or a combination of all things into thinking and believing like that. A lot of times it's a root cause of a mother, right? There are many women who prefer to have a daughter versus a son, and they will literally psychologically manipulate their young son into becoming a female like in their tendencies and their mindsets. There are parents out there who are intentionally doing that to their children. But, I don't think that we should have curriculum in schools that talk about the LGBTQ lifestyle. I don't. I do not. I don't think that we should have anything like that in the schools, but somewhere these state, local, federal government agencies, they have deemed those things to be appropriate and an appropriate infiltration into, the curriculum in certain little ways, And so that is just to say that I think that it is the government that influences the education system. And I think that they're going to present a bag of garbage. I think the people who are leading the U.S. education system, they are intentionally making our kids stupid so that a fixed demographic of people can be perceived as the smartest people in society when really they're the dumbest. They just leech off at everybody else. All right. But, anyways, let me go to this thing here. All right. So, let's see. You said the government? Yeah. It's definitely a class word, Tanuki. I definitely agree with that. People are conditioned to make things about racism, but this is a classism war. I mean, and even more specific, it's a war between the flesh and the spirit. And I think that, some people are awake and aware to higher consciousness of what's really happening in the world. I think some people look at things at the surface, they're perplexed, but they see reoccurring things. But it's sad. Good morning, Asuma. I see you. Let's see. You said we would get reparations. I don't think that blacks will get reparations because, I think, I don't think that there are people and they will pay for all kinds of other BS before they make penance with the descendants of slaves for not just, I mean, to me, because I don't look at reparations as just a slavery thing, and I've said this before. I look at, it's a reparations for the continuous coordination, right? And I think that's the denial that a lot of people who are against reparations are in, is they don't want to talk about the continuous coordination against black people, against our black leaders like Fred Hampton, Malcolm X. They killed those brothers. They coordinated and they killed those brothers, and they used black men to do it. So, these continuous coordinations against black people, black leaders, you know, I think that I don't think they want to acknowledge that, because then it would be not just acknowledging that you wronged a whole segment of people, but that you were highly coordinated in doing so. And I think if this reparations argument were to be really taken seriously, which I don't think it is, I always think that reparations is dangled in front of black people when the Democrats need to count on black people for a vote. And I've always looked at it as like a carrot to play and dangle in front of black people. And they will do all kinds of dog and pony shows like California, right? But at the end of the day, I think, it's an insult to black people at best. And, you know, I don't really, I let people, I would never talk against the reparations argument, but I just don't have a whole lot of energy for it either, because I see how they play with people with that whole conversation. So I'm one of those black people. I'm not really banking on that at all. Right? So it is what it is, and it's sad. What is a trained person? What is a trans person? You mean them trans folks, like the people living as the opposite sex folks? Let's see. The education system is not making the students dumb or question their gender. Social media is this culprit. Find a student. No, 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 no. See, do you have kids? Because I always like, it's the people that don't have kids that be saying that shit. Hopefully you got some kids when you're saying like the education system is not making the students dumb or question their gender. That's a lie. That is such a lie. Matter of fact, I had my 19-year-old, she graduated last year, and like she was like, Mom, you were so right. She was like, every single topic they're talking about this identity thing and how blacks and LBGT people are disproportionate at this and that and blah blah blah. It was woven into everything. My my 10-year-old, when she was 9, they went over the pride flag and the history of the rainbow flag. That is being infused in the curriculum, and it has no place there, right? And I'm talking to my kids, and how I found that out was we were doing a drive around, and we were talking about symbols, and we were talking about how flags are symbols. And so, my son, for some reason, I'm not kidding you, his dad is a staunch Democrat, so just give him a pass. But he always calls the United States of America, the American flag, the Obama flag. He's like, that's the Obama flag. I'm like, no, honey, that's the U.S. flag. It's like the Obama flag. My son has this weird connection with Obama and the flag. And for some reason, he's obsessed with, when he grows up, he wants to live in Ohio. I'm like, Ohio? He's like, yeah, I want to live in Ohio. I'm like, why? Why? Like, I don't get it. Like, I hate driving through Ohio. I'm from Michigan, right? It's like, I don't really care to drive through Ohio. It's not a great drive. They got traffic cams everywhere and cops everywhere. You can't just speed in peace. Damn. But he's obsessed with that. But anyways, you got to have kids to understand what I'm saying. They are weaving it in very slick ways, and it's not even just about the curriculum. It's about the teachers that they're choosing. Like, I remember going to school, right? I never like learning that my teacher was married was probably like one of those things that just happen in random conversation, right? Or maybe you just saw the picture on their desk of their family and you realize, okay, they're married, they got a husband, they got this, but they never really talked about their family all the time. Or if they did, it was like because their kids were in the school district and it was like, oh, my daughter had to do this. It was something relating to school. It was really never about, oh, well, I'm married to another woman. How does that make you feel? Oh, why does it make you feel weird? We're in love with each other, and it's okay for love to be different. And, shit like that. It's like, man, if you don't sit your ass down, because I look at that stuff as, like it's soft grooming, right? It's like you're already normalizing some shit that is more anti-God, because it really is. I'm never gonna, like, I can't tell anybody how to live their life, but at the same time, homosexuality is a sin. Homosexuality is anti-God. And the only God that accepts homosexuality is the God of the system of things, Satan, the devil. And that just is what it is. I mean, and I can't tell other people how to live their life. It's not my job to overtly ridicule homosexual people and, people who go into these alternative anti-God lifestyles. Not really my job to tell people what to do, right? We all have to have accountability for what we buy into, what we believe. Unfortunately, people have been groomed and conditioned into those mindsets. So, there's so many dynamics of understanding with these homosexuals that you got to have. So, I just say that to say that, I pray for everybody. I know that there are some homosexuals who are believers and they're not practicing homosexuals, but they struggle with, whatever desires they may have or attractions, and, their faith in God and living by his righteous standards. And nobody said that living by God's righteous standards was going to be super easy, especially if you've been conditioned and wired, in Satan's world in a manner that has normalized things for you like that. So, I kind of try to be empathetic to, them folks, right? But, I can't make you feel like, I'm an ally, because I don't ally with that. And anybody who knows me know I'm never going to disrespect you, but don't ask me to ally with your ass. Y'all know I don't rock like that. But anyways, let me see. Teacher, nurses, business, religious leaders know a lot. Absolutely. Like, yeah, but here's the thing about teachers. I don't know how much they actually know. And I'm not trying to be funny, but teachers are not the smartest people in society. Not even close. Okay. And I know people would want to believe that, no stab to teachers, but teachers are not the smartest people in society. The smartest people in societies are the people who are in the private sector, the engineers, the creators, the highly technical people. Those are the smartest people in society. Teachers are not even close. Have you ever had a conversation with just, let's just say, a middle school teacher, right? These people are so emotional, right? It makes perfect sense why they are dealing with people who are younger than them. Because if they had to go into the private sector and deal with people who are their age, they'd be too mentally shaken to do it. Hell, I see some people in the private sector that should just go on and get your ass out of corporate America and go do something in the public sector, because you're not cut to be here. There are some people, it's like they weaponize mental health issues, like shit that I remember, like, how can I put this without sounding like like inconsiderate, right? Like, I'm trying to season my words. I'm trying to season my words here. I respect companies that believe in giving their employees a human experience. All right. I don't believe that companies should enable people who do not have a handle on their mental well being. That is not the company's problem. But it becomes the company's problem when there are employees who do not believe that having management of a mental illness or whatever they're going through should be a requirement when they start working, right? Because, my sister used to do like these FMLA claims, and she would say the number one reason, if she had to go on average, people were calling off for mental health days. Now, I don't know what these companies are doing to these folks, right? But, then again, I don't know, what entitlement these folks are coming into these companies with. Because you will see people like just everyday life is happening to them, and they act like they just can't function when anything is just off. And I personally don't think that companies should have to deal with that to unreasonable degrees. And I think that we live in this world where people can weaponize their mental health, to basically not be accountable for the things that they have committed to. So, you know, I I don't believe in weaponizing mental health. I don't believe that people who claim that they have mental health issues, I don't believe that they should be enabled to unreasonable degrees. You can make concessions for them, but they should not be enabled, because once you start enabling people who weaponize their mental health issues, you pretty much got yourself a liability on your hands. That person becomes a liability, whether people want to admit that or not. Okay, you said sorry, but this about black peeps I don't know what you're saying. As a poor white person, doors were slammed in my face. My mom and grandmother worked in cotton mills their whole life. My dad was a steel worker and graduated a coal miner. I mean, listen, Shelby, I respect your people's hustle, right? And I always say that, white privilege is an illusion, right? And when you look at a lot of white people in America, right, you can see that the white privilege train passed them, right? And they have to work just as hard as everybody, like the black people who claim that we are disenfranchised. So, it's an interesting thing because I do think that when we're talking about social dynamics and economic inequities, it's hard for people to even think about a white lower economic class, right? It's almost like that can't be a conversation because these lower economic conversations are reserved for blacks and other people of color. This is not a white people thing. And I get a lot of white people who are on the mic like, hey, I came from nothing. My family didn't have shit. We started from the bottom. I had to work really, really hard to get what I have. The only privilege that maybe I had was I was a white guy, right? But even still, I had to go through X, Y, and Z. So I feel you, Shelby, right? White privilege is this thing that, they want to attribute to all white people. But we know that the privilege train, missed a lot of people and they had to put in that time just like everybody else. Some people are not the beneficiaries of nepotism. Um, I agree with you, Shelby. Right. I mean, here's the thing, and it depends on what you want out of life too, right? I mean, I've looking at one of my signs here. It says, "Live the simple life." Right. So to me, simple life means that I can decide how much I want to work for the tool called money, how much I want to obsess over it. And I don't obsess over it. It's just a tool. I have a means to end with it. So I just acquire a skill where it will get me to an economic income level where I can live the simple kind of life. I can take care of all of my people, right? And I can enjoy what I do, right? And I ain't got to be chasing and stressing and tricking out in the streets for the money. And that's what I like. Not saying that I would do that, but some people really out here tricking for the money. And I'm just not one of those people that's willing to do that. I'd rather be broke than to be tricking out here for that money. Some people are tricking for the money, right? They out here in these Epstein and Diddy parties just tricking for the money, tricking to be part of a deal, tricking to get somebody else's money. I ain't even with it. I'm not with that at all. But anyways, you guys, let me know what you guys think about this Vivek conversation. Like I said, I don't want to come off, anti-immigrant. I don't want to come off as if I'm bashing immigrants. I only say to these products of immigrants, right? You come over here expecting for America to be like your culture back at home, but somebody fled over here because the opportunity within the culture that is America and that has made America great was desirable, right? So I think that Vivek really needs to understand that he's a beneficiary of all of the hardworking people who have built this country for the generations that have enjoyed this country in the last, couple of days down to us, right? And we have become a leisure type of nation. We are Rome 2.0, right? Where we believe that if you're going to work hard, you should play even harder, right? And that requires for you to have people to play with. And maybe Vivek doesn't have too many people to play with, or he was just that dude that wasn't invited to the cookouts, wasn't invited to the mall, wasn't invited to all the things that the Saved by the Bell kids and the Boy Meets World kids they experienced. Maybe he was just literally like, I'm just going to study because nobody's inviting me to anything, right? this is probably, MAGA has probably been the most Vivek has ever felt welcomed in anything. And even still, they not really welcoming his ass because now he's talking off the side of his neck. But anyways, let me know what you guys think. And if you like content and discussions like this, definitely hit that like button. Thank you so much, Shelby, for stopping in. I see you, Chris Fisher. You can tell. Let's see. Shout out to Sean Joseph. I see you. I see you. Let's see. And thanks so much. I mean, here's the thing. I mean, I've been accused of being racist, and I'm like, how? How? You know what I mean? But we got to start calling spades spades. You know what I mean? And, I'm not racist, but I think one of my pet peeves, like I said, is I can't stand it when immigrants talk shit about America and America culture and they're in America living here. It's like, if you don't take your ass back to your own country so you can get back immersed into the culture that makes you the most comfortable, because we don't rock like that over here. It's like, we gonna have some fun, okay? All right, we gonna have some fun. We not just gonna be sitting up there stuck in some biology book, right? We gonna be doing something else, like moving our asses to some good music, having some good conversation with friends, you know. We're going to be doing that. That's the American way. We work hard, we play harder. That is the American way. It has always been like that. And that's why this nation has been so desirable for so many people. So, anyways, you guys, have a wonderful, wonderful day. Comment below if you guys agree with Vivek, if you think people are just blowing his comments out of proportion. Comment if you believe that Vivek is within every right to say what he's saying about American culture. I will say that I don't disagree with all of what he's saying, and if what he was saying was actually coming from, like, maybe somebody with more of a founding in America, I think it probably would have been received a lot differently. But because it's coming from somebody from immigrant culture, and they do have a certain mindset about discipline of life and studying that we don't, right? It just gives, go back to your own damn country if you want a culture like that, because that's not what Rome 2.0, aka America, is about. So that's all I got to say about that. You guys have a wonderful, wonderful day. Shabbat Shalom to those of you who observe, and I'm talking about Shabbat Shalom to all of my brothers and sisters, both Jew and Gentile, who are in covenant and you observe Sabbath day. Shabbat Shalom to you. Bye.